What's going on, guys? We're gonna do a video for you today. I've got some requests online about Deandre and his win a few weekends ago over Diego Pato. A lot of people were saying, man, you know, he was able to sit right in front of such a strong leg locker and not be finished. Like, you know, what the hell is he doing in his training? So what I'd like to do for you today is show you this idea of condition and effect and how we use this idea to train Deandre into the skills you saw in his matches last weekend. So the whole idea behind condition and effect is this. There are only a few number of conditions that create a large number of effects. One of the ones that the all community talks about and all the community knows is an inside position. So inside position, as you guys already know, is when one player has their limbs in between the others. And since we're talking about leg locks and leg entanglements, we're talking about position of the leg. So if my legs are inside Josh's legs here, I have inside position. If Josh's legs are in between mine, he has inside position. Now, inside position is a condition that leads to hip access. What this means is if I, as the inside player, have control of the space in between, there's nothing in between my opponent and I that stops me from getting direct access to his hips with my legs, where I can make an attachment, start isolating one of the legs, and threatening potential submissions. It's only one of the conditions that allow for entanglement to happen, but it's central. It's the most common. If Josh were to put one foot in between mine, neither of us, not me nor him, would have complete access to the entanglement. So if I, the defending player, kept one of my legs in between while the attacking player kept trying to put his leg in between and I stopped it, entanglements can't happen. Understanding this single condition and training around the effects it causes, we can develop a deep relationship with the outcomes that we're trying to achieve from there and the outcomes our opponents are trying to achieve from there. I know inside position is not the only condition that gives the attacking player access to the hip for the purpose of entanglement. Another condition that we can create as the attacking player to create hip access is the cross lead leg. Now, it won't look like a lead leg when we're seated, but we could just call it a cross leg for now. So the way we name the leg position has to do with where they are relative to our center line. So our center line is a stripe that divides us in half. If I have a hold of a leg on one side of the center line, this is the same side. If I take this leg and I move it across my center line, this is cross. Okay, so if we can take a straight leg and make it a cross leg, we have a similar effect as we had with the condition of inside position. With a cross leg, my feet have direct access to my partner's hips to attach and entangle for the purpose of isolating one of my partner's legs. So central to our training here for the attacking player is creating an ability in the athlete to manage and control both inside positioning to gain access to the hip via entanglement, or cross leg positioning for the exact same purpose. Now, each of these conditions have a multitude of functions within them. They're not just, I have inside position, therefore I get to the hips, or I have cross leg positioning, therefore I get to the hips. This is just a potentiality. Though both inside position and cross leg position gain access to the hip, they also create other opportunities for action that we can mix together with hip access. For example, if I have inside position in between my partner's feet, because my partner is square, meaning their legs are on the same line, it's very easy for me to access both feet. This makes it so that my partner can't pull his feet back or put them on the ground, making it very difficult for him to start to stand up. At any time, if I wanted to change my position as the attacking player from bottom to top, by having access to both my partner's legs, it's very easy for me to pick one of the legs up and prevent the defending player from standing or retreating. So it's not just access to the hip via entanglement, it's also access to the hip via heel height. There's a relationship with the height of my partner's heel and the downness of their hips. So by having access to both, I manage that relationship. Again, if my partner starts to try to come up and I lift the heel, we keep the hip down. Again, but it's not a thing in and of itself. It also gives us continuous access to entanglements as we play out that relationship. For the cross condition, just like the inside position condition, it has a multitude of effects. So one, we've already talked about getting direct access to the hip. We still have the heel height function. Okay, we can still use it here, but we only really have strong access to one leg. But by crossing the leg out of the way. So we move the foot and we move the knee out of our way as the attacking player, giving us a direct upper body line to our partner's hips, and depending on how they move their back. So whereas inside position, though, it gives me access to the hips via my legs, and it gives me access to heel height, I don't have a direct upper body path because there's stuff in the way. Whereas the cross leg, I have the same hip access. I still have a little bit of heel height, but now I have direct access to the hips via the upper body, creating a multitude of threat. Now let's look at these conditions from a different perspective. Rather than double seated just to see the conditions themselves, let's look at it from both a top and bottom player's perspective. So from a top player's perspective as the passing player, by denying the bottom player access to inside position, I deny them access to entanglements. No matter how good Josh is, he could be the greatest leg entangler and leg breaker in the world. If I don't let him in between my legs, he's never going to entangle me. He's going to have to do something else. So one of our training protocols that we focus on developing is putting our partner on their back and keeping one leg in between our partner's knees at all time while denying their ability to bring their feet to the inside. Now, it's not as specific as directly inside. We don't want the feet anywhere on the inside line, whether it's in space or connected to us. So as passing players, we train D specifically and train him often to always keep his leg in the center, no matter where it is in between your partner's knees, and always monitoring the outside leg. So that outside leg can never come to the inside. So no matter how he's facing, no matter how he's turning, that outside leg is never coming in. No matter what aspect of our body we're dealing with it, no matter what we're doing, it's never getting in between our legs. Now let's look at the top player's perspective again, but now let's look at the cross leg. So if a partner's on their back, if I take my partner's legs and put them to the outside of my lead, I have two effects I've created for myself. As the passing player, I have a path past my partner's knee potentially, but I also have a path from the top back into hip access. So just like we showed on the floor, training the condition of inside position and cross leg, we can toggle between how we create access to the hips, either for the purpose of entanglement or for the purpose of locking our hands or passing the legs. Again, it can be done from a double seated like we originally showed, but it's also the same thing happening up here from the standing situation. Here's a concept we use here that help us understand that these conditions produce effects whether you're the bottom or the top player. It's the idea of playing the entire space. So let's imagine that we look at entanglements traditionally where we see it as a bottom player attacking another seated player or standing, or a top player. We control inside position, we create a cross leg, we gain access to the hip. But those conditions can be had whether I'm the bottom player or the top player. So as we pummel legs and fight, as I create these conditions, I don't have to stay here to do it. I can keep these conditions present while putting my partner on the back and becoming the top player, and still have access to those things as the top player. As long as I can go from bottom to top continuously, I always have access to those things, regardless of my position relative to the floor. There's no reason that once we gain control over our partner's legs that we have to stay grounded. By toggling between grounded and standing using the entire space, we can create many novel engagements for the defending player. You often hear me in my coaching videos say create a path to the top, and that's exactly what I mean. If we are to take bottom position, we don't ever want to be punished and pinned there. Being on the bottom for an extended period of time in a long match is punishing. It's exhausting, it's fatiguing. So embedded within our grip fighting strategy is creating paths all the time. Paths to the hips, paths to the top, paths to the back. This is something we consider all the time, regardless of where we are, bottom or top. We have this propensity to look at a condition like inside position, and we want to make it look a certain way. It has an aesthetic. So this is your traditional inside. But one of the positions we use here, we call it short long. It's where we have a hook on the close leg and a hook on the far leg. This is also an example of inside position. I am in between my partner's knees, and they do not have access to my feet. And I have direct access to their hip in different directions. This is a common foot position here at standard jiu-jitsu that we use quite a bit. It's part of our style. One reason that we use this often is because it allows us a bridge between the two conditions that we want to create against our partner. It allows us inside position, it allows us heel height, and it allows us to use the heel height to not only create hip downness, but to also create cross legs, giving access to still our partner's hips for entanglement or our partner's hips for upper body control. All the while, it denies our partner access to our feet. It's very difficult for the other player to get to our feet when we're able to keep them inside and hidden while we toggle between these different positions that we would use to keep our partner down and stay inside and outside of our partner's limbs. The short long position that allows us to toggle between inside and cross leg positioning can also be expressed from a bottom player's perspective. So if you watch Deandre and Gavin, or any of my guys really, you'll see the short long happen all the time. We use this to destabilize our partner towards their hips and hands before we entangle, so we don't ever give the top player access to our feet. But when our partner's feet are weighted, it's very difficult to create a cross leg. Even though we have inside position, we gotta get this leg across. So by destabilizing our partner to their hands, we can now create the cross positioning and still have access to the inside. This gives us access to the secondary leg. So as you saw with Deandre and Cisneros, he was able to entangle the far leg by going through and grabbing the knee. But this was just a response to what Cisneros did. He gave him access, but otherwise, we have a path to the hips as well, and other outcomes we can create just from being able to create those conditions. Now, it's important to understand that telling students this, or telling you guys this, is almost meaningless without a training protocol to realize it. These are things we discovered throughout the training process of teaching Deandre over the last 5 years. It's very critical that you guys understand the process we went through to get to where we are now. So the way that we do things here is I take something as a coach that I know about jiu-jitsu, like inside position. And when Deandre first came here, he didn't know how to heel hook, he didn't know how to leg lock, he didn't know how to entangle. It wasn't part of his skill set yet. So the first thing I exposed him to was the control of the inside position. And then we would create a bunch of tasks for him to play, a bunch of games for him to play, to develop the skill against a bunch of different people, and we'd give him things to do with it. And then we would send him out to a competition, we would see what results he would get, and then we would come back and we would manipulate it again. So it wasn't the knowledge that I gave him through telling, it was my knowledge used to design practice that he engaged in, and it was his focus, his attention, his intention within the practice, his continued effort that allowed those skills to become his. It wasn't memorizing a bunch of shit that I told him, it was enacting it. And if you look at his matches historically, you will see all this stuff take place. Now, as you guys all noticed, Deandre is an incredible guard passer. When he first came here, he would spam left to right movement. He'd be like left, right, knee cut, left, right, knee cut, just like every gi player you've ever seen. And so we had to really give him a deeper focus as how to progress the position because he really wasn't sure what progression looked like. Coming in here as an athlete with lots of experience and a great capacity for physical engagement, he could exhaust and tire most people with just his physical abilities, but we wanted to give him something more tactical to focus on. So to help him learn how to create better guard passing opportunities, we started with this basic game. You see it all the time. It's all over the online. Everyone plays it, but this is like 5 years ago. That's what we started him with. So the first thing is, you want to keep a hold of your partner's feet at all times. So as I engage with a belly up player, I'm trying to use my hands to keep my partner's feet off of me. While I keep my partner's feet off of me, my job is to take one of my legs and do one of two things with it. Stick it in between my partner's knees, stay here for as long as I can, or step to the outside and stay here for as long as I can. We're not trying to pass our partner's knees, we're trying to stay right in front of them. Now, in this game, bottom player is always trying to do two things. One, get both feet hooked to the inside of the knees anywhere from ankle to hip, doesn't matter. We're trying to get those 2 feet somewhere inside the knees and connected with 2 hands so we can put the top player on their butt. So in this game, it's continuous for the top player. You're just trying to maintain the condition of keeping feet off of you, stepping in between or stepping to the outside. Hyper focusing on never letting those feet get to the inside. 1 is fine, 2 is bad. Bottom player, you are hyper focusing on getting both feet to the inside and using your connections to put their player in their butt. So again, bottom player puts top player down, they win. Top player, it's continuous for you. We're just gonna master the condition of staying inside or outside our partner's feet while never letting those feet make contact with the inside of our legs. Now, another problem that Deandre had when he first came here is he couldn't get off of his back. So one of our grip fighting strategies or our training strategies was to always keep a path to the top. We didn't want him to get stuck on the bottom as he attacked his opponent. So starting double seated, job of the attacking player is to start with and keep your feet to the inside. So no matter what's happening, attacking player feet stay to the inside anywhere that they can, as long as you can, trying to keep your hands anywhere on both legs. While doing this, we're not only trying to keep our feet inside, but we're trying to take one of our partner's legs and cross it to the other side of our body, still keeping attachment to both legs, still hiding our feet, keeping them attached to the inside of our partner. We're gonna try to switch from cross leg to straight leg, keeping our feet on the inside as much as possible, while keeping our partner on the floor. When playing this game, we don't have to stay seated. We can play the whole space from seated to standing, trying to keep our legs in between or one of our partner's legs across our body at all times. This is a continuous game for the bottom player. The other player's job is to get to their feet and bring one leg to the inside. Now, it doesn't matter the order in which this is done. We could bring one leg to the inside first and then get to the feet, or you could get to the feet and fight one leg to the inside. If the defending player wins, change top to bottom. Gaining access to our partner's center is central from us all things. Whether we're talking about gaining access to their center by clearing their hands and elbows out of the way and getting to the shoulders, or clearing their feet and knees out of the way and getting to their hips, this is an essential skill we want all our players to have. We want to be able to create a path to our partner's center for both our legs and our arms. So when helping Deandre learn these skills, within this game, we just added that as a win condition. So in this third game, everything stays the same. Keep your feet to the inside, getting access to both your partner's legs at all times, while taking one of your partner's legs and moving across your center line, keeping your feet and hands connected to both legs at all times. But now to win, we either entangle our partner by connecting our legs to our partner's hips, keeping them grounded, or coming up off the ground, gaining access to our partner's hips by closing our hands. It doesn't matter how this is done, as long as we can get upper body to our partner's hips, keep them grounded, or we can get access to our partner's hips, keeping them grounded with our entanglements. Both is a win for the bottom player. Top player, your job is to do like you did before, get to your feet and put one leg in the middle, or put one leg in the middle and get to your feet. It does not matter the order in which it happens, as long as both conditions are met, the top player wins. So this is an example of how I, as a coach, took my understanding of Jiu-Jitsu and a concept and applied it through practice to an athlete. It's never enough just to be able to regurgitate and memorize a bunch of facts or show a bunch of moves. We have to use the knowledge that we have historically, design good practices so athletes can turn that knowledge into skill. Deandre Corbe, Gavin Corbe, and the other athletes here at Standard Jiu-Jitsu are a perfect example of that. The things you see them do in training, you see directly reflected in the performance environment. This is what practice is for. Again, coach take knowledge, makes practice, athlete engages in practice, they become better over time. Guys, we love the questions, we love the engagement. We want to put out more content to let you guys know what we're doing here at Standard Jiu-Jitsu. Keep asking us questions, we'll keep giving you answers. Let us know what you want to see, let us know what you want to learn, and we'll do our best to show it to you.